Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today on this video, I wanted to show you my selection of jig heads for shaky head fishing. You know, I did some videos this year or in 2024 on shaky head fishing, and those did pretty well. So I wanted to make sure that you guys kind of get to see exactly what I carry with me in the boat anywhere I go in the country for my shaky head fishing, because I like to keep things pretty simple. I've really only got two different styles of jig heads, and you know, I just think that keeping things simple really does help you make more decisive decisions on the water. And for most things, man, you really don't need to be too complex. Now, I say that, and before we get into it, look at this mess right here. This was all the tackle that came out of this boat right here that finally got somebody to buy it. I'm really excited. So thank you, Jim. Anyways, you can see I've got a ton of stuff here on the table. So it's not like I just have a small little bag of things. I do carry a lot of things with me, but for each different category of bait, I really like to kind of, you know, eliminate all the fluff, all the distractions. So here we go. This right here is my shaky head box, okay, for the jig heads, and I really like this this tackle box. I've got the link in the description for everything we're talking about today, including this terminal box that I've fallen in love with. So you can check out those Tackle Warehouse links. Because it just holds everything very nice and neat. You know, there's no like bouncing around or vibrations to wear down the hooks or, you know, chip the paint or anything like that. So it's just super nice and organized. Really like it. The only thing that I will mention about this style box, because you have like this foam that holds all your terminal tackle, is don't put a wet hook back in here. In fact, I won't put a hook that I've already used back in here. I might, like this one right here that's not in the foam. That one was one that I used. I made sure that it was dry, and then I just kind of put it back all willy-nilly in here just to let me know that, hey, it's not a brand new hook. Because I'm still kind of a college student at heart. I still, even though I've got so much tackle and I could essentially just throw away a jig head after using it, I still have a hard time doing that. So a little bit of a hoarder. All right, so let's dive into it. So really, there's only two different styles of shaky head hooks. Now I use a bunch of different style of worms. I'll use like the SMH worms, which is a great shaky head worm that Z-Man designed with Brian Latimer. I use like the fatties, or just a regular finesse worm, or like the big TRD. Big TRD is a really good shaky head worm. A little bit different, you know. It kind of like branches into that Ned rig category. But as far as jig heads, we got the two. So we've got a ball style jig head. This right here is, I'm pretty sure, a discontinued Z-Man jig head, but I love this ball style jig head. But the good news is that even though this one is discontinued, there's a ton of different brands that make a ball style jig head on the market. So I'm going to put some really good options in the description below, those links, so you can get those, because these don't exist anymore on the market that I'm aware of. But I like the ball style jig head, and we'll keep that out. And I also like, talking about the SMH worms, I also like the SMH jig head that Z-Man came out with you know, input from Brian Latimer. And the reason why I like this one is it is more of a bullet-shaped, more streamlined jig head, as you can tell here. So a little bit different, and you've got a different line tie angle too. It's a little bit more off the nose, a little less of an angle there, as opposed to this one right here. You can see how that line tie sticks a little bit straighter up. It's not 90 degrees, but it's closer to 90 degrees than this one right here. And you know, the reason why I like this one, and then we'll go back to the ball style jig head, I really like this one because a lot of times I'm fishing a jig head or a shaky head not like you would traditionally. I'm throwing it to fish that I see on forward-facing sonar, or maybe I'm fishing a brush pile or around cover, around subtype grass or something like that, and I want a more streamlined jig head for a nicer glide, but also just to be able to fish through that cover. So those are the scenarios that I like to fish the SMH jig head, around cover, and also fishing open water, just casting to fish where the nice, spiraling glide is a big deal. Okay, so that's the situations for that one. And then the ball style jig head, pretty much everything else. Okay, but the ball style jig head does something very, very well. This is a classic jig head design, and the reason why it's been so popular for so long is because it's very good around rock and hard bottoms. It's a really good jig head style to drag, but also just work any which way through hard cover, a hard bottom, hard clean bottom. Okay, and so that's the whole reason why I like the ball style jig head. Very versatile as far as, those primary situations that I like to fish a shaky head, fishing a shell bar or fishing a little patch of rocks or dragging on a point. All of the above, the ball style head does very well. So think of this as more of kind of a clean bottom, hard bottom type situation, more of a structure jig head, and the SMH worms or the SMH jig head as more of a cover and open water, gliding style jig head. So those are the two that I really like. So I just wanted to break those down for you. Both of these I'm going to be rigging Texas style, so I'll just show you that real quick. We'll take a SMH worms out of here. Get to it. It's so cold out here, my fingers are freezing. So we'll just Texas rig it like this. So we'll take the jig head, whichever one we're using, we'll pull it down about maybe 1/8 to 1/4 inch, bring it up past that keeper, whichever hook you're using, and then just kind of dig it into the plastic. Now, traditional plastics, you're going to want to Texpose, where you bring the hook point through and then just put a little bit of plastic over the tip of the point. But with ElaZtech, just dig it to where the point, the barb is inside the ElaZtech, but the tip is still well within the middle of the bait, because ElaZtech is very, very compressible. The hook point's going to come through that stuff. I know that there's some people out there that say that they have a hard time getting the point through ElaZtech. I'm not sure why that is, but I can tell you all my experience shows that this is the best way to rig an ElaZtech shaky head worm. So anyways, guys, just wanted to give you guys a glimpse in my setup for shaky head fishing. Pretty simple, 2 jig heads, a handful of different types of worms, and you're good to go. Catch a lot of fish. So if you guys have any questions, drop a comment below. Check out those Tackle Warehouse links for the jig heads, the worms that I use, and also the tackle box that I like to use for my jig heads. And other than that, I'm going to see you out on the water. Make sure you trust the process.